Yes, please. It's, I think it's 7 now. 7 baj gaya.
Now you are live.
Okay, thank you. Great. My dear viewers, I do welcome all my esteemed viewers on this August platform of Education Pe Charcha. This being the 78th session, indeed, we do have a tremendous sense of pleasure and even a sense of ecstasy for having kick-started a program which caters to spreading or disseminating information and knowledge across the length and breadth of India in particular and across the world in general. My dear viewers, Education Pe Charcha, you all would appreciate, is equivalent to educating the nation, in as much as we keep on inviting almost topmost achievers from the myriad field of specialization. My dear viewers, of course, Education Pe Charcha, is conducted under the aegis of this talk, and of course, with all sorts of technical collaboration coming all the way from Sri Pramodji, whose invaluable contribution, of course, has been a sine qua non or absolutely imperative for the conduct of this particular program. My dear viewers, as you all know, this is Vivekanand, an author, academician, and public intellectual, the convener of Education Pe Charcha. My dear viewers, today being a 78th session, we do have, as usual, a very, very esteemed and august, academician, and most importantly, the very, very distinguished guest today, respected Dr. Devi Prasad Mishra ji, happens to be one of the stalwarts in the field of education, in as much as he happens to be a senior professor of Indian Institute of Technology, Kanpur. And again, not only a senior stalwart professor, but most importantly, he had been, a chair professor of special chair professor of Indian Oil Corporation in IIT Kanpur. That is a prized, position which is occupied by the fewest of few, especially who happens to meet certain criteria. Only those candidates are being selected for these very, very honorable positions. My dear viewers, today our distinguished guest, Dr. Devi Prasad Mishra ji, is adorning, of course, he happens to be on deputation, but he's adorning one of the premier institute of excellence. Of course, we will come to know about it from his own mouth, in Kolkata, where from he's logging in for today's 70th session on Education Pe Charcha. My dear viewers, I do firmly believe that being a stalwart professor of Indian Institute of Technology, Kanpur, of course, today's discussion, a very, very, means hopefully an illuminating forthcoming discussion, definitely will be motivational, some sort of, means I'm certain it would, stimulate not only the IIT aspirants, but even those who are studying IITs across the nation, and of course to the different segments of intelligentsia class, because being a man of letters, and it is something, it adds to the bonanza of the show, as well as a further feather to the cap of that of Dr. Devi Prasad Mishra ji, because he has an insight into Vedas. You can well understand a man who has a blend of both modernity as well as that of ancient priceless wisdom of Bharat Basa, because he is the man who has a great insight into Vedas, which became apparent to me in course of one such scintillating intellectual discussions on a particular platform. I could decipher the oceanic depth of this great august, Miss stalwart professor, who happens to be blessing and guessing today's Education Pe Charcha. My dear viewers, straightway coming to just an outline of his introduction, because as we progress into the show, obviously his versatility will be able to unravel. So Dr. Devi Prasad Mishra ji happens to be a senior professor in the Department of Aerospace Engineering and Design Program, IIT Kanpur. Space, as I already said, chair professor of that of Oil India Corporation, and today he happens to be on deputation, presiding over the destiny of an institute of excellence in Kolkata, and of course he is a talk of the talk of the intelligentsia class in Kolkata for uplifting the overall scale and magnitude of education in that of technical institutes there in Calcutta. My dear viewers, now it is time for question and answer session. We very much welcome our very august guest today, Professor Dr. Devi Prasad Misraji. With this very first question, it goes in this way, sir. The first question is coming to you. Sir, walking down the memory lane, if you could kindly enlighten our viewers about your sophomore years till your post-graduation, your schooling, colleges, etc. I have 10 questions, sir. And so, we have to accommodate all this. Yes, your take on this, sir. Please, we welcome Dr. Devi Prasad Misraji. Sir.
सबको मेरा नमस्कार and respected Vivekanand Jhaji, who was invited me for this interaction program on this platform, which is really doing wonderful thing to all the people. And as the question is being asked about my journey from the childhood to the postgraduate education, I must tell you that I have taken birth in the city of Cuttack and in the house of Subhash Chandra Bose, who is a great leader of this country, and he's such a patriot which cannot be described in the words. And his contribution for the Indian movement and independence is enormous. And I don't think we have produced a person like him till today. And then, of course, I got the schooling in the there is a police line school where primary education I did in Odia medium. And later on, I moved to a high school, which was basically established as the first private school in Odisha and against the British wishes by great personality Parimon Acharya, who happens to be a great freedom fighter and influenced by galaxies of the freedom fighter at that time. And it was established in 1875, that school. And I happened to be, happened to get education there. And there, the ARA was having a great, about our patriotic and freedom fighters. Our teacher used to talk, and they feel proud of that school. And later on, I moved to Revensa College, which happens to the first college of the entire Odisha. And there I did my, at that time, IAC, Intermediate of Science, with a biology as a fourth paper, physics, chemistry, and mathematics. Later on, I was fortunate to get into a college, engineering college, that is University College of Engineering, Bulla. And now it is a university, Veera Surendra Sai Technical University, and which happens to be the first engineering college of Odisha. And I did my BTech in the field of mechanical engineering. And during that time, I was really mesmerized by the beauty of that place. I call it is the Switzerland of India. And that college was situated just on the downstream of the biggest dam over the Mahanadi, that is Hirakud Dam. That is the longest dam of Asia. And that really has made me to dabble in not only the engineering, but also in literature. In Odia language, I had written some poems and also some such stories. Besides this, I must tell you that I was a part of the Vivekanand study circle, which was there. I was really influenced by the ideas and the mesmerizing patriotism what Vivekananda was putting forward, with a lot of stuffs from our Upanishads and Vedas. And there I got that mooring, and it was a great for me to do that. And also my engineering was going on, and I was very much interested into serve my nation, particularly in Odisha. That was in my mind at that time. And after that, my father wants to be an IAS officer, but I was not that much interested. Uh, then, of course, I gave that IAS and I got selected in the preliminary. But during that time, I got a chance in ISC Bangalore for joining as a MSc Engineering in Research. And it was a turning point for me. And I went there and registered for the MSc Engineering. And subsequently, I converted that to the PhD degree. And I got the PhD degree in mechanical engineering in the field of my specialization was combustion. Although I started research work in the gasification, keeping that mind, gasification of biomass, keeping in mind that I can serve my state where there is a lot of rice husk and other things. But whatever it may be, the time has taken a turn, and I couldn't manage to get back to Odisha till today.
Great, sir.
And then that is my journey. And there also I, was a student council chairman. I contributed there as also executive committee member of the Gymkhana in ISC Bangalore. And we did a lot of work for the people around that, particularly student community and other things. And
great, sir. My dear viewers, our very, very distinguished guest had just, gone towards the memory lane to just ferret out or to just, reveal certain very important information, especially in the context of his having idolized two greatest patriots the nation has ever seen. That is first Swami Vivekananda and of course Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, because Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose initially, as our distinguished guest has very correctly said, he was, he stayed in Cuttack. And later on, he switched over to Calcutta. But of course, Cuttack was his birthplace, or in fact, the place where he had stayed a good number of years. And as our distinguished guest talks about Swami Vivekananda, whose philosophy having influenced him so enormously that indeed the way he has, shaped up, the way that the sort of trajectory that he has worked in, and the sort of knowledge as it will be revealed later on, his insight into Vedas and Upanishad, that what he himself articulates, owes their very, genesis from that of his having some sort of solid moorings in the philosophical belief of that of Swami Vivekananda. My dear viewers, before I switch over to the second question, one thing I would like to say, because I too have been an ardent devotee of both of them, and especially in the context of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, it becomes very incumbent on my part to just, just recite the sort of stanzas which were produced by the queen of, that is, the head of Rani Jhansi Brigade. When Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose landed at Singapore, that is, Lakshmi Swaminathan then, who subsequently became Lakshmi Sehgal and even contested the presidential election against Dr. Kalam. So the stanza that Jhansi Brigade sang while welcoming Subhash Chandra Bose, alighting from the flight, that is Subhasaji, ऐसाने हिंद आ गए है नाज जिसको हिंद पर वो नाज हिंद आ गए. None to my perception got the sort of applause or the sort of rousing welcome the way Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose got when he alighted from the flight which brought him straight from Tokyo to that of Singapore. Thanks a lot, sir. Coming to the very second question, you already said a bit about it. If you want, you can skip, or if you want to say something on it, yes, it is your discretion, sir. You claim you have received the doctoral degree from IISc, Bangalore, India in 1994. If you could kindly enlighten our viewers on the same, your experience at IISc Bangalore, Because of course your father intended you to be an IAS officer, even though you did take the preliminary, but later on you got selected here, so you straightway got enrolled. Something, some more experience you would like to share, please, sir.
See, when I joined the IIC Bangalore, I was not knowing about what is really research. In the first 2 semesters, I concentrated on the taking some courses, basic courses. And later on, I was, joined a lab, which was at that time known as the rocket testing house. So it was under the aerospace engineering, and my professor from mechanical engineering told that we'll have to do some collaborative work on the gasifier, that is rice husk gasifier. And I did some work without really knowing much, and it was a great struggle for me. And also the other thing, what I found that when you are working some experimental work, you need to interact with the workers who doesn't know the English, and they will be talking in Kannada. So it was a great problem for me to communicate. And when I started talking in Kannada little bit at the time, then people made fun of me. As usual, it happens. So then I lost interest in learning that, and also the other things. And I tried to work hard at that time, and then could manage to do some initial preliminary testings, and it was success to some extent, but it was not fully evolved out. Later on, of course, it went on the things, and I was also involved, as I told, involved in other activities like students and other things. And I was a part of my hostel also, like hostel management, kind of things I was involved. And but at that time, I was not very good in English, particularly the spoken English. Then I started writing some poems in English to learn the English language. That was because I was writing in Odia. Then I thought, okay, somebody told that, your vocabulary is very poor. So I thought, what is to be done? Then better to write that, and then with that you can go. And of course, the research wise, I was quite, struggling and understanding what is research. And later on, I have understood research is a very risky job. Research is not that, like you know the problem, some problem is to be given in the exam, and then you are already accustomed to similar, kind of pattern. But here you do not know, and you will have to depend on a lot of people, resources, and other things. A lot of uncertainties are there. So, and that has really made me, and sometimes when you get success, you will be in ecstasy. And sometimes you get failures, you will be in, in a deep trouble. What is to be done? What are the things, like other things. So that really, and also whenever you go from one topic to another topic, then I undergone some kind of a, downfall, or I can say Down syndrome, I can say rather. Then it was a very great, thing to how to come out of that. At that time, I really took the help of Swami Vivekanand and other motivational things, so far to motivate myself, because you can only motivate yourself, right? And that was really great journey. And then I also writing paper was also another great this thing. I couldn't really manage to write properly, and a lot of ordeals I had undergone at the times how to write, and then you will have to learn from other fellow students. Sometimes somebody will help you a little bit, but he may not help you, and then he may, like a lot of uncertainty will be there. Then anyway, this is a struggle, great struggle, and I could manage to get degree. And in that process also, I went to USA to present my paper. That was really a great thing, because there was no telephone like that today, and I was not knowing anybody, and it was a great, also a lot of fear in my mind, what to do, what not to do. Alone you are going. So it was a great experience for me at that time. So later on, I did a job in Bangalore in a multinational company at that time in MG Road. We are having office, and I went and stayed outside of ISC campus, which was a great, trainers rather I would put, because ISC Bangalore campus was great. But when you go and take a house on rent, and then also the language you do not know, then there is a lot of, and travel, long, very long, what do you call, travel from, around maybe 10-15 kilometers to go to the office in time. It was a great challenge at that time. And even today also in Bangalore is a very, like, what do you call, traffic jam. And then, so I purchased a scooter, and then we went, there's a lot of things were there. So that's all I can say.
Great, sir. Great. I'm just coming to the next question, sir. Sir, you are the fewest of you today in the country as an expert in the field of teaching aerospace engineering and design program, and that too at such a premier institute of excellence, that is IIT Kanpur. If you could kindly let our viewers know about experience at IIT Kanpur for decades together. Because, sir, I recall, and you would also appreciate, my viewers would also appreciate, Dr. Kalam had intended to be an aeronautical engineer, and he somehow or other he failed in that examination, which was a trigger for his very, very deep frustration. And then he went to Rishikesh, heard some sort of pontification by one of the priests there on Bhagavad Gita, one of the yogis there on Bhagavad Gita, and which was really exhilarating, highly motivational for him. And then again he returned to to continue with his crusade. Now, sir, your take on this, please.
Actually, when I joined IIT Kanpur, my background is basically mechanical engineering, but I was selected in aerospace engineering department because my professor, one of the professor, or rather two of the professors from aerospace engineering department who guided me further. But unfortunately, I had not taken any course in aerospace subjects. Like, for example, what I teach generally, rocket propulsion and gas turbine propulsions and missile propulsion, all those things, that is the thing what I teach. And so also the combustion. Combustion is my research area. So I had not taken any course, but I have, when I joined, then I was asked to teach a course. So I really was in a, this thing, I took some book and then started reading it seriously. Then I went to one professor, senior professor, asked, "Sir, this thing I don't understand. Can you please, discuss, because I'm having some doubt." I started discussing. He told that, "How come you do not know this thing? And then you are assistant professor here." And I think, it was really, I took it as an offense. It was I couldn't sleep for a night. Then he asked me, "How could you ask such a silly question?" Then I couldn't sleep for a night. And then I decided, let me learn myself. And in that reaction, I wrote one poem that is a question. I will only recite one stanza. That is, question can never be silly. It can be a beautiful lily in the garden of knowledge. That is the truth is after age. And let me tell you, this poem was really, I have used several places, and it was appreciated by a lot of people, because that kind of, offense what I took, it was really very great for me. But it was a turning point for me to look at myself. And I have learned the subject, and I have taught that courses, and I have also written two books. One is Rocket Propulsion, which is published by the Taylor and Francis, and which is being used in several places across the globe. Another book I have written, Gas Turbine Propulsion. right? And of course, I have also written a book on the combustion, which is the first book in India, Introduction to Combustion. Because this was a challenge, and then what I learned, self-learning is the best method of learning. That is the thing what I have learned. And similarly, in the off late, when I realized that this modern technology and other things, science is really doing not great service to our globe because of this global warming and climate change, which was a great concern. Then I looked at ancient way of what we call ancient technology, and I have done a course on introduction to ancient Indian technology. This is the first of its kind to my knowledge in our country. It is under SWAYAM platform. And there also there's no book, I think at least in combustion on propulsion, you will get some book available across the globe. But for ancient Indian technology, there's no book. You'll have to collect. You'll have to do that. So therefore, that self-learning has really helped me, and also tenacity to struggle and go. So I feel proud of that course contributed for our nation. That is it.
Great, great, sir. Since, sir, you have already mentioned about my next question, part of it you mentioned, but of course, our viewers would like to have a greater insight into the areas where you have worked. That's why this question becomes very important, which is just, coming to your answer just now. Sir, your area of expertise have been propulsion, combustion, computational fluid dynamics, and automation. If you could enlighten our viewers on the same, of course, in layman's parlance, because I too am not from science background. So of course, our many viewers would not be able to, comprehend the very complexity of these concepts. Therefore, in common man's parlance, if you could just throw some light on it. Your take on this, please, sir.
See, let me tell you that we have done some work on the propulsion side. Let me start with that. You might be knowing that the rocket engine is being propelled by basically three technologies, but two of them are being used obviously. One is solid propellant rocket engine, where the propellant or the fuel and oxidizer together will be in solid form. And there is a liquid propellant rocket engines, which is basically being used very much for the space flights application, because it can give you a way how you can go out of the gravitational field, because of it is ISP, specific impulse is higher than that. And there is a lot of problem associated with the liquid propellant as well. Now the people are thinking to increase that ISP, and we have done some work on gel propellant. You might be knowing gel, like gel paste, gel, gel is being used everywhere nowadays. And this is the semi-liquid kind of things, and where we have developed and we are having a patent for that, for atomization, right? And we have also loaded with the nano particles so that it can increase the ISP further. And this work we have done, and I think in India, we are the only group that was working. Of course, I left the IIT Kanpur, therefore that work being stopped. Otherwise, we are continuing doing that. And even the ISRO was very much interested, but I couldn't go further. And there is another thing what we have done is in a space application, there's a microgravity. That means we are here on this Earth, beautiful Earth, because of gravitational force. But whereas the space, the gravity is zero almost. Therefore, we cannot simulate the gravitational field here because gravity is there. But we call it microgravity. It means gravitational force will be there. The combustion process will be different. We have done some kind of a tower design, and then we have conducted some experiment that is related to our propulsion side. And we have developed some kind of atomizer. That atomizer means it's basically an what you call entity by which you can produce rather you can convert the liquid or the gel fuel or the propellant into the fine droplets so that the combustion can take place very easily. And this is being used, and we have done some work on the um, for this space hypersonic vehicles. What India is having, India is aspired to have that. It's a very high speed propulsion system, which is Mach number greater than 5. So India has really done commendable work, and very few nations in the world are having that kind of facilities. Of course, one of them is USA, there is China, there is Australia were successful doing, and India is one of them. Of late, we are successful in, and I was a part of that. And there is and for that, there is another technology where we have done some work is endothermic fuel, right, which will be used for the supersonic vehicle or hypersonic vehicles, right? And this is about the propulsion side. Of course, there is some other work we have done. Right now, one of my students also working on the supersonic combustion. He is doing my PhD, he is doing currently. And it's a very micro injectors, what we are talking about, which is new, is not being used at all, but it may be used in future. So that is about what you call propulsion part, and also atomization talked about. And atomization, we have also developed 2-3 kind of new atomizers, which are of much use kind of things. It can be utilized. And we have, besides this, in combustion, I have done several works. In one is we have developed inverse jet diffusion flame, which is a very different kind of that what is being not being used. Very few people are working. And another, I have worked on something producing nanomaterial using the combustion. Generally, the chemistry people, they use the nanomaterial they produce in the terms of some few milligrams. But in the using combustion route, you can produce few kgs per second, kind of very higher. It can be upgraded. Of course, we did our work in the laboratory scale, which is a very small one. But however, it can be scaled up very easily. And besides this, we have developed the flame heating, like impingement heating kind of atmosphere using the combustion route, where you can also use the metal. It can be used for the several other applications. Things. Besides this, I've done some of the societal kind of thing. For example, like we have developed some tandoor chula, gas-fired tandoor. I'm having little societal concern, and I have developed a combo bicycle, which was really being very much appreciated across the country. Unfortunately, was not no proprietor could come forward to do that. But whereas the Australian people, they have design looking at for kind of things. So, and then besides this, there is a solar-based, solar pedal car, solar plus some pedal hybrid car we had developed. And there are several other things we have done. Also, we have designed some a lot of burners, like for even domestic burners, we have improved the efficiencies. And there are several other works like burners for the biogas, burner for the producer gas. We have also designed and developed, which can be used by the common people.
Great, sir. Great. Sir, I'm just coming to the very next question. You have research papers in more than 232 research papers you have done, both international as well as national in national journals, and also 5 patents to your credit. If you could kindly let our viewers have an insight into them, please, sir.
I will just correct a little bit that these 232, now of course it has increased, that these papers are not really all are for the published in the international journal and rather some of them are published in the conference. That means total paper published in conferences and also international national journals are 232, what you are quoting. Now it may be around 238 or 240. That is okay. I must tell you the truth so that like it won't be going that way. And your question is that how it is having impact or something like that you were saying, right? Or what was the question? What was the question?
Sir, actually, that is means that is 5 patents also you got it registered against your name.
Yeah.
So we want you to, our viewers would like to know something in details about both the publication of papers as well as the the patents that you got registered with your name. Please, sir.
See, what I would like to talk about is that basically the papers as we are in academic world and then we are having what you call doing some research, is better to we'll have to disseminate the knowledge and whatever the new knowledge we have acquired, and so that it will be betterment for the general people. And as but some of the kind of things which you'll be doing, it can be having a commercial, ventures can be made out of it, particularly technological. Therefore, we go for patent, and patent means that is exclusively it will be some company can take, and we can also give some share that. But unfortunately, in our country, the very few takers are there, because some of them also have come to me. They want to take everything freely. That is the thing that didn't materialize. That is the free mindset is also there. Whereas once we made patent, this is a property of the IITA, and also I am a part of it. So therefore, I cannot really give to anybody free unless this thing. So therefore, patent we have made, and we are yet to materialize it, translate into the product or the thing we can go to the market. That is a very sad part, but it is also very arduous part, I would say. But I must tell you that one thing, things are changing now. Maybe things will be better off because this country is for so many years subjugated. So therefore, although we are having a journey of 75 years after independence, but it is a positive note. Positively, we'll have to think, and things are, getting open. People mindset is changing, but it will take time. So therefore, we'll have to work for that, and that more entrepreneurship should be developed, so that like a job, we need not to be job seeker, job provider. The more job provider will come, this technology can be utilized. And if we want a country to develop, it is important to develop the technologies, and so that we can be, self-sufficient, and we can also sell our product in other countries, so that we can get a lot of money out of it, and we become rich. And it was there earlier also, but of late we are not doing. We are right now. I think the ecosystem has been changing, and hopefully it will be we'll be doing well in that as well. But what is important point I would like to say at this moment of time is that with this sustainable development, which is the now being talked about, which was inherently present in our country earlier days. Now we need to develop the technologies which are good for our country and good for the environment and protection, and also it will be sustainable, and it will be used by the local people first, then using the local manpower and local materials. This is the need of the hour, so that we can be self-reliant. And that is the thing what I am trying to discuss and propagate through various forums. And this is one of them. Vivekanand has given a chance, so that I am talking about. Thank you very much.
Great, sir. My dear viewers, what just our distinguished guest says, of course, is very much compatible with the sort of scenario that has evolved in Joseph. It is really scary, it is scary for the mankind. The way Josephat has begun sinking, if the sustainable development about which our distinguished guest has been propagating, obviously has to be in tune with that of nature. As great Rishi Aurobindo talks about it, that the relations between that of mankind and the nature has to be based on based on like being nature being mother and mankind being its son. That sort of symmetry appears to have given a way for some sort of predatory mindset which has come to exploit the nature today. And the sort of catastrophe that has struck Josephat is the living indication of this asymmetry which has come to stay between nature and man. The men have begun to think, being the masters, who can control nature, and the sort of ramification of the same is adequately visible, across the world today. The ecological disorder is nothing but the coming into existence of that of an asymmetry between man and nature. And that is what our distinguished guest is emphasizing upon the same fact, that this asymmetry is to be given a decent burial, and men should accept nature as supreme. There cannot be any compromise on that. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. You are straightway, we are coming to the next very, very important question. Sir, we have a time constant also. And so, but yes, we have five more questions. Sir, you are the fewest of few in the country. Very, very important question, my dear viewers. Here is a distinguished guest today who, despite being a scientist, a very, very valued professor of that of IIT Kanpur, but nevertheless, whose moorings is in Vedas. The scientist who believes in ancient, priceless wisdom of Bharat Basa really is something exceptional, and something which needs to be institutionalized in contemporary times. That is why this particular question assumes a tremendous significance. Sir, coming to this question comes to you. Sir, you are the fewest of few in the country who, despite being a scientist, have been propagating the ancient wisdom of Vedas and Upanishads. In fact, you have addressed scores of seminars across the nation, on the same issue. So, sir, how do you think that the wisdom of Vedas perfectly blend with the modern science? Your take on this, please.
This is a very great question, and it is very close to my heart. What you have just now mentioned, that the Mat, Jyotish Mat, what you call, Josimat. See, this is a very catastrophic thing, and it is created by human beings. It's not that Mother Nature has done that. And let me tell you what our Shastra says. Just now, Vivekanand was telling, I must quote from our Vedas. Mata Bhumi Putram Prutibhyam. We are the son of this great blue planet, Earth. What? That does, right? That means whatever the needs we are having, the Mother Earth is very freely giving us without any reservation. But we are so greedy that we do not, understand the ramification of that, what we are saying. Therefore, I always feel the modern science has really done, enormous damage to our entire ecosystem. It is not the science or the technology which has done. It is the bad education of the people which have spoiled the ecology to the point of no return. I must tell you that in the process, we in India and also other countries, we have spoiled the mountains, we have spoiled the water bodies, we have spoiled the air and other things. This is the right time. Therefore, UNESCO and other things, they have realized what our ancestors are told. Javat tishtati bhu mandale sa saile banatanana avat tishtati mediniyam santati पुत्र पौत्री। ये देवी का कवच, देवी का माँ, जो मेरे जो पृथ्वी माँ है, देवी है, उसको हम देवी कहते हैं। हम लोग बहुत सारी चीज को, we always say goddess because like they are the givers. So mother always there to help you. Similarly, all these aspects, the mother which are produce us, mother earth has produced us. So therefore, and what is saying, what is that Sukta is talking about is that saying, as long as you take care of the mountain and mountain range and the forest and the other greeneries, this mother earth will take care of you, not only you, for the next generations. Look at the things. What a beautiful thing. I don't think any other place, any other scripture has been talked about so candidly, so clearly. I have not come across. So therefore, if you look at, there is a Pruthvi Sukta. How to take care of that is already being given by our ancestors, right? In Vedas, in Upanishads, in several scriptures. Therefore, always, it's accustomed to our culture. As we are away from our culture, as the culture is being, being distorted, and it is being rather, I would say, poisoned, right? At this moment because of onslaught of Western way of looking at things. I'm not against the Western people. There is a lot of great things, but however, we need to look at the fundamentals of Indian culture and tradition. It has strived for thousands of years, in spite of subjugation for thousands of years, for at least 1,000 or more years. But still it is lying, and we need to relook at, rejuvenate it, and revive it in a manner what is called for, not with a propaganda, but rather with a scientific, logical, and rational thinking way of thinking. There might be it might be distorted. That doesn't matter, because it's a very great time which has passed over, and so therefore there is a need for us to look at it, and also remove if there is a distortion, and revive it in such a way that we can not only help ourselves and integrate it with the mother nature, but will help the entire world to follow the wisdoms given by our ancestors, provided we follow it and we show to the people, look, it is possible to live a very peaceful, blissful life in the abode of the mother nature.
Great. Great, sir. Priceless wisdom. My dear viewers, when sir was explicating on such a gravity of issue which is bedeviling mankind, all of a sudden, by way of recollection, it just a particular episode just struck me when Swami Vivekananda was in United States of America way back in 1893 to address the World Parliament of Religions. And in the wake of his address, of course, there was a curiosity among people who would flock to just hear him. There was one scientist too who would visit Delhi to hear Vivekananda explicate on Vedanta philosophy. So one of the journalists asked the scientist that, sir, you are a scientist, and this monk, he delivers his philosophies on that of Vedanta. So how do you find the co-relationship between the two? What scientist says has been corroborated by our distinguished guest. Scientists said, oh, no. The way Swami explicates on Vedanta philosophy, I think that he is talking about the broadness of science. So, my dear viewers, I'm absolutely in agreement with a very, very stalwart scientist today who has a moorings in Vedas and Upanishads, explicate on the same theme as what that scientist, American scientist, had articulated century ago after listening to Swami Vivekananda explicate on Vedanta philosophy. Then what our sir or distinguished guest says, that he has never seen such the loftiest of philosophies. At least he has never come across, as he already had, or he already has had, that is the Vedas and Upanishads. Absolutely in agreement with him in letter and spirit. Thanks a lot, sir. Coming straightway to the next question, sir. You claim to have developed six online courses under Swayam platform, a national initiative of Ministry of Human Resource Development. Besides this, you also designed and developed a unique course, Introduction to Ancient Indian Technology on Swayam platform. If you could kindly tell us in gist, because time is short, we have 2-3 questions to go. Please, sir.
Actually, this platform of the SWAYAM has given opportunity to interact with the student across the country and abroad as well. So therefore, I took that opportunity and also developed some courses in my professional field like aircraft propulsion, rocket propulsion, combustion, thermodynamics, which is a core subject for most of the engineering streams. And beside this, I have developed, as I told earlier, an introduction to ancient Indian technology. And during that time, I really struggled hard to collect the material, which won't be really being thwarted by my colleagues. Because if I talk something, there will be controversy. So I was very much, careful in doing that. And that course I have developed, which encompasses a lot of subjects which are related to the life. For example, like there is agriculture in that, there is a what you call how to textile, metallurgy, there is a how to build houses, like temples and houses, and also the metallurgy, which was a very great thing, and even glass making, a lot of things I have collected, and then I have also moved across the country to collect some evidences so that nobody can really. But unfortunately, I found that last 30 years was a great loss to our country. So far, our traditional knowledge system is concerned, because with the onslaught of the Western technologies, that most of the indigenous technology which was with the people, Lok Vidya, it is all lost. There's not much time, otherwise I could have, share my experiences during that course, whatever. But I learned a lot. And let me tell you, I was very parochial in my field, which is a very narrow, but now I got a broader sense. I became a more generalist, Earlier days I used to be a specialist. So, but that has given me a lot of, feeling that, look, our country was a very great producer of knowledge, and it was very integrated with the mother nature, with our culture. And whereas the modern technologies are not with that, this is more mechanical, right? So that is, I think, if India wants to do well, now it has to get back to that Lok Vidya culture, and that is the need of the hour, so that it can generate a lot of employments. We need not to depend on the company to, give jobs, but these are the people, and they will become not laborer. Mazdoor, majburi mein jeeta hai. Like we are producing laborers, which are being, living a life in compulsion. So therefore, if you want to make a country, then naturally we will go back to that model, or maybe redesign it in that love, keeping the wisdom of our ancestors. So thank you very much.
Sir. And next, I'm just coming to the next question, sir. You also dabble in Odia language and literature. If you could enlighten our viewers on the same, please, sir.
See, actually, I was thinking sometime when I was in school, I want to be a poet. But I did write some poems, but unfortunately, I've it was not really very received, because I stayed most of the time from outside the Odisha. And of course, nowadays I'm not writing in Odia. Last maybe 7-8 years, but I could manage to publish 2 books. One is Syukarokti, that is a collection of my short stories. And there is one poem I have compiled. Of course, a lot of poems are lying, which I have not looked at them. A long time back I had written. And that is, the book name is Nirav Alap. Silently we'll have to alap means, discuss or something like that. So that is the thing which I have done. I have a love for the language because the Indian languages are great, let me tell you. Such a scientific language, if in front of English is nothing. In front of, like our Indian languages are so great that, English is nothing in front of them. But unfortunately, we are talking in English, we are teaching. Anyway, that is the unfortunate part of our country, this moment
That
of
is
time.
that yes.
But I always strongly believe if want to develop a good mind, it has to be done in the mother tongue, particularly Indian language, scientific. Otherwise, another very beautiful language which we are having is the Sanskrit.
Great. Of course, my dear viewers, absolutely the agreement with our distinguished guest, because Sanskrit, for instance, has 52 syllables. But think of English, it has just only half of it. Obviously, our own colloquial languages are very, very rich, no denying the fact. But it is all because of the grave injustice done by Macaulay, who sought to institutionalize the anglicized culture, giving a decent burial to our own indigenous evolution, especially in the context of languages and culture and civilization. So it was as good as killing or trying to dilute our own civilizational evolution by Macaulay. So of course, sir, what he says, I'm absolutely in agreement. Sir, I'm coming to the very next question, and of course it is the last question, sir, because Pramodji will be translating our transcript into Hindi also, summing it up. He will give his own, express his own opinion on it. Last question, sir. Sir, it is, of course, I do reiterate or duplicate my observation. Indeed, in the country today, I think there are fewest of you who so meticulously blend both the indigenous, indigenous, ancient, priceless wisdom together with that of so-called modern science. Because you are a scientist, a professor of such a distinguished institute as that of IIT Kanpur. Obviously, this is the mantle or the sort of the mantle that definitely you claim to be flaunting today. You claim to be exhibiting today unequivocally. So, sir, what would be your message for the IIT aspirants across the nation? Because you would appreciate every nook and country, the first and the ambition of every good student who pursues science is to either go for IIT or for medical. But of course, IIT is the first preference. So, sir, what would be your messages for the IIT aspirants as well as the qualified IITians, those who are making a beeline towards Western world just for the sake of getting the packages? They least bother or least care about the national, about the development of their own country, because when they study in IIT, they are beneficiaries of subsidized education. The government of India is subsidizing their education. But as soon as they qualify, they make a beeline to go abroad, especially US and other destinations, wherever they get a very fat packages. So, sir, as a professor, stalwart professor of a premier institute of IIT Kanpur, what would be your message to these two different classes or segments of people or of student of people? Your take on this, please.
I know there is a lot of interest among the youth to join the IIT for engineering stream. And what I would suggest to them, those people who aspire to go to IITs, IIT is a really great place to work and study. And what I would suggest them, they should look at the fundamentals, and also they should dabble in the practical aspect of the science and technology and look around the world, and that will be helpful for them. And as the IITians are considered to the cream of the society, and society expects a lot from them, but unfortunately, because of their own way of looking at things, they are going for the greatest pastures and these things, and also they are leaving fraternity of engineering and going for other stream because of several reasons. But what I would suggest, I have found that their intellectuality is quite good, their brains, they're hardworking and other things. But if they can channelize their energy for the renaissance of our country, which is the need of the hour at this moment, as we are in the Amrit Mahotsav, like Amrit Bela, as our Prime Minister has told, and it is a really great because we are having the youth dividends, youth power, and you are the harbinger of change, and you become a privileged class in this fray because of your power of intellect and other things, your perseverance, your hard working. Therefore, if some of you, not all, if all of you will do, it will be great, but at least some of you could channelize your energy for the renaissance and rejuvenation of our motherland. And I'm sure that we will do wonderful, and we can really, change the world. And we are having the power to do that at this moment of time, even in future. And I wish that, you people should do and help our country, help the entire world, taking the wisdom of our ancestors. And I would always, call upon you to look at the wisdoms which are lying dormant in the books or in, of course, unfortunately, not with our people today, but it is the lying books, and some of the people are there still, I would say. Not that nobody is there, but please look at them and go with the power. Soft skill, I call it soft skill, because soft skill is very essential for your career and for your contribution to our nation and also the world at last. Thank you very much.
Great, sir. Thanks a lot, my dear viewers. Today was indeed a very illuminating, intellectually scintillating session with one of the stalwart professors of Indian Institute of Technology, Kanpur, who today is presiding over the destiny of a very, very technical institute of excellence in Kolkata, wherefrom he has logged in for our August. So today I once again express my deepest thanks. My dear viewers, before I invite Sri Pramodji, as what our distinguished guest, by way of message, he has articulated to a wider range of, or wider segments of, those who are aspiring for IITs, as well as those who are already passed out from IITs, that, the ancient priceless wisdom of Vedas and Upanishads should adequately blend with that of practical wisdom, because we cannot think of jettisoning or abandoning Vedas and Upanishads at the cost of just aping the Western civilization, what exactly we have been doing thus far. That needs to be indeed replaced by, adding beauty, adding value to our own system of education by getting an exposure into Vedas and Upanishads. My dear viewers, before I invite, because one more thing I would like to say, when Sir was giving his message, I recall Honorable Prime Minister calling from brain drain to brain gain. You can go abroad, you can gain experience, but come to channelize your experience towards the productive evolution of the scientific evolution of this country. That is the best way you can serve the society, especially after having obtained the plethora of benefits, from people of India, especially from the government, by way of subsidies being channelized for such a expensive education of IITians. My dear viewers, next Saturday, that is on 21st, we have a doctor, a dentist, one of the best dentists from Jharkhand, Dr. Om Prakash Ji, who is currently with the Rajan Institute of Management, Institute of Medical Science. He is going to be our distinguished guest today. And now I'm inviting Sri Pramodji to just share his own opinion, express his own opinion on such an intellectual interaction with that of the distinguished guest today, Honorable Stalwart Professor Sri DEVI Prasad Mishra Ji. Please, Pramodji.
जी नमस्कार।
नमस्कार प्लीज।
सर को प्रणाम, सादर प्रणाम सर। आदरणीय विवेकानंद जी को प्रणाम। सर ने पूरे अपने वक्तव्यों के अंत में बहुत ही खूबसूरत सी बात कही, और मैं सर के उसी बात को लेकर के अपनी बात प्रारंभ करना चाहता हूं। सर ने कहा कि अंग्रेजी जैसी भाषा में कोई हिम्मत और कीमत नहीं है। हमारी अपनी जो क्षेत्रीय भाषाएं हैं, उन भाषाओं की अपनी मर्यादाएं हैं और उनका एक विज्ञान है। और ये हमारे साथ माने एक अच्छा नहीं हुआ, वेल बिगिंस नहीं था कि हमारे देश ने, हालांकि विवेकानंद जी भी बार बार इसको कहते हैं, वो तो पूरी व्यवस्था पर ही, मैकॉले के ही एकेडमिक सिस्टम को सारे लोग कहते हैं कि वो गलत है और अब लोग मानने भी लगे। सर ने जिस प्रकार से प्रारंभ किया, सर के पूरे बातचीत का एक निचोड़ यह था कि भारतीय परंपरा, भारतीय सिद्धांत सूत्र, भारतीय दर्शन, इनकी जितनी ऊंचाई पर पहुंच थी, उस पहुंच को हम लोग इनकैश नहीं कर पाए या उसको इग्नोर कर दिए। यदि हम लोगों ने उसको इनकैश किया होता इन आजादी, तथा कथित आजादी के 70 वर्षों के दरमियान, अमृत महोत्सव से पहले, तो शायद आज हमारे बच्चों की और हमारी स्थितियां कुछ भिन्न होती दुनिया के देशों में। लेकिन फिर भी अभी एक छोटा सा प्रयास लोग कर रहे हैं उस समझ के साथ जिसकी चर्चा सर कर रहे हैं। लेकिन 2-3 बातें बहुत मजेदार हैं अपने यहाँ। अपने जितने भी मांग में हैं, चाहे आप महाभारत लीजिए, रामायण लीजिए, पुराण लीजिए, वेद लीजिए, इन सभी वाङ्मय ने एक अद्भुत काम किया। उस वाङ्मय ने क्या किया कि इंडिविजुअल के विकास के लिए, एक वैयक्तिक विकास की जो सीमाएं थी, उनको असीमित कर दिया। और हमारे यहाँ के दर्शन परंपरा में एक ऐसी चीज को इंट्रोड्यूस किया कि एक व्यक्ति जब जीव के रूप में जन्म लेता है, उसे ज्योतिषीय भाषा में जातक कहते हैं। तो उस जातक के जन्म के बाद जब उसका नामाकरण होता है, संस्कार होता है, और फिर 16 संस्कार से गुजरता हुआ वो अपनी यात्रा करता है, तो उस यात्रा के क्रम में वो पहले तो जीव होता है, जीव से मनुष्य बनता है, मनुष्य से मनुष्यत्व आता है, मनुष्यत्व से ईशत्व आता है, ईशत्व से देवत्व आता है, देवत्व से महादेवत्व आता है। तो महादेवत्व की प्रक्रिया का लाभ भारतीय परंपरा में रहने वाले सैकड़ों लाखों लोगों ने उठाया है, जो कि इतनी ऊंचाई पे जाके खड़े हो गए अपने जीवन काल में, या आज भी हमारे लिए वो ध्रुव तारा के समान दिखाई पड़ते हैं और हम उसको अपनी चेतना में रखते हैं। एक छोटा सा बच्चा जिसने भगवान विष्णु, सर तो खैर देवता के, जो कलयुग के देवता के जो प्राणवान देव हैं, उनके करीबी हैं, जगन्नाथ जी के, और जगन्नाथ की भूमि में रहते हैं, और हम लोग तो दूर से ही जगन्नाथ भात का आनंद उठाते हैं और चेतना में उनको रखे रहते हैं कि ये प्राणवान तत्व हमारे लिए कब तक संरक्षण का कार्य करते रहें। लेकिन वैज्ञानिकता के जिस कठिनाई में आकर के जिन जिन पदों को आपने धारण किया और जहां जहां आपने अपनी पूरी ऊर्जा लगाई, वहां के परिवर्तन का जो स्वरूप आने वाले 50 वर्षों तक दिखाई देगा, वह एक चेतना से होता है जो आदरणीय सर के पास है। डॉक्टर देवी प्रसाद मिश्रा जी के लिए कुछ भी कह पाना, मैं तो इनको एक सरल और सज्जन साधु मानता हूं, और साधुत्व के सारे गुण इनमें हैं, अध्यावसायिता के साथ साथ, और एक प्रचुर ज्ञान का भंडार है आपके पास। और विवेकानंद जी ने जो ये कार्य प्रारंभ किया है, इनका ये 78वां एपिसोड जो हम लोग इसमें बातचीत कर रहे हैं, ये कार्य वास्तव में बहुत ही अद्भुत कार्य है। ये अद्भुत इसलिए है, 2 कारणों से अद्भुत है। पहला कारण यह है कि बिन सत्संग विवेक न होई, अब बिन हरि कृपा मिलहि नहीं सोई। जब तक हरि की कृपा नहीं होगी तो सत्संग नहीं होगा। सत्संग मतलब होता है कि ऑनेस्टली बी ऑन ट्रुथ, सत्य के साथ संग होना चाहिए। और सत्य यही है कि जिन्होंने ज्ञान का अर्जन किया और समाज को आलोकित किया, वहीं से सत्यता का एक स्वरूप निकलता है। विवेकानंद जी भी आध्यात्मिक क्षेत्र में अपनी सेवा देते हैं और लिखते, पढ़ते, बोलते, सब कुछ करते हैं। और सर ने आज जो समय दिया, उस समय का एक माने उसकी कीमत क्या लगाई जा सकती है, लेकिन सर ने जितने बहुमूल्य बातें कही हैं और जिन जिन अनुभवों को हमारे साथ बांटा है, वो अनुभव निश्चय थे ऐसे लोगों को जिन्हें जीवन में सकारात्मकता के साथ जीने की आकांक्षा हो, वह इस अनुभव का लाभ ले सकते हैं। और मैं तो जितने एपिसोड देखता हूँ और सुनता हूँ, तो मैं तो विवेकानंद जी को यही कहूंगा, सजेस्ट करूंगा कि सभी एपिसोड का एक जिस्ट निकाल करके एक छोटी सी पुस्तक, जब 100 एपिसोड हो जाए तो उस पर एक छोटी सी 15-20 पन्ने की पुस्तक निकाल दीजिए और फिर उसको लोगों को दीजिए, ताकि लोगों को ये पता चले कि कैसे कैसे लोगों से कितनी बड़ी बातें, जो उनका एक जिस्ट है, वो हमारे सामने आया है। तो ये एक आभासीय दुनिया का प्रिंटिंग टेक्नोलॉजी के साथ तालमेल हो जाएगा और यह संभवतः एक नए किस्म का काम होगा, क्योंकि अभी तक जितने लोग हैं वो लिख करके, पढ़ करके बोलने के लिए आभासीय दुनिया में आए। मुझे लगता है कि जितने कैलकुलेटिव चीजें आपने इकट्ठा की हैं, उन इकट्ठा किए गए चीजों में से 100 एपिसोड होने के बाद वो सबको सीरियल नंबर से नाम लिख करके, और उनके जो महत्वपूर्ण तथ्य हैं, विचार हैं, उनके जो व्यक्तिगत जीवन की जो यात्राएं हैं, जो बहुत सहजता से वो कहते हैं, उनको एक कंपाइल करके लोगों को ये बताया जाए, तो आने वाले समय में यह भी एक बहुत बड़ी थाती का काम होगा। आज देश के अलग अलग हिस्सों में, खासकर कलकत्ता जहां आप हैं, वहां बगल में ही गंगा सागर में लोगों की भीड़ लगी हुई है और आज मकर संक्रांति है। और मकर संक्रांति के शुभ अवसर पर सूर्य के संक्रमण के साथ सूर्य के दक्षिणायन से उत्तरायण होने के इस कालखंड में देश के और दुनिया के 2 महान व्यक्तित्वों से हमारा दर्शन, ये मेरे लिए परम सौभाग्य है। आदरणीय विवेकानंद जी और आदरणीय देवी प्रसाद जी, दोनों आप सरस्वती के वरद पुत्र हैं। ईश्वर आपकी जिह्वा पर सदैव विराजमान रहते हैं और आपके द्वारा कही गई बातें पाथेय के रूप में स्वीकार होती रहेंगी, क्योंकि दोनों लोग शिक्षक हैं। आपने भी कई लोगों को अनुप्राणित करके आलोकित किया होगा और विवेकानंद जी ने भी कई लोगों को अनुप्राणित करके आलोकित किया होगा। आइए हम सब मिल करके भारत के उस पुरातन तथ्यों को इकट्ठा करें, जिसमें शास्त्रार्थ और चर्चा के माध्यम से हमने दुनिया की बहुत कठिन से कठिनतम समस्याओं का समाधान निकाला है और उन्हीं मार्गों पर चलकर अपेक्षाकृत अधिक लाभप्रद होने की दिशा में आगे बढ़ें। आज के इस सत्र के लिए इतना ही, फिर अगले सत्र में मिलते हैं। आप सबों को, इस चैनल के सुधी दर्शकों को और इस चैनल के सब्सक्राइबर को फिर से निवेदन करूंगा कि यदि आप सब्सक्राइब नहीं कर रहे हैं, इस चैनल पर उपस्थित होकर आप देख नहीं पा रहे हैं, तो कहीं ना कहीं कुछ आप मिस कर रहे हैं। इसलिए ये जरूर है कि आप इसको मिस मत करिए, क्योंकि छोटे छोटे क्लिप में बहुत सारे गाने और बहुत सारे उत्पाती चीजें तो आपको मिल जाएंगी, लेकिन विवेकानंद जी जो आपको चीज परोस के दे रहे हैं वो नहीं मिलेगी। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। अब मैं श्री विवेकानंद जी को इस कार्यक्रम को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए आमंत्रित करता हूं। आदरणीय श्री विवेकानंद।
Thanks a lot, Pramod ji. Thanks for your erudite expression of opinion. Of course, the sort of suggestion that you made, that after 100 episode, some sort of compilation has to be given a very tangible shape. I do, accept it with my head bowed down. My dear viewers, of course, today it was a spectacular session with one of the stalwart professors of this country, whose moorings was absolutely on the ancient Sanatan priceless treasure, that is Vedas and Upanishads, and that too blended with that of all sort of scientific, scientific knowledge, that what we call it or what constitutes the modern science today. I thank all my viewers, and of course, as Pramod ji said, this is what is our endeavor, is our perseverance, that is to dish all sort of knowledge and information from this very, very august channel, because we are of the opinion or of the belief that whereas there are plethora of channels catering to that politician, there is no credible channel as yet which would cater to educationists, academicians, bureaucrats, and of course, the vast segments of intelligentsia class. That has been the very rational or underlying reason behind coming into existence of this channel. I thank all of you. I thank our distinguished guest. With my head bowed down, we'll come back again on next Saturday. Thanks to all of you. Thank you.
ठीक है, नमस्कार।
नमस्ते।
नमस्कार।
Namaste, sir. Namaste.
ठीक है।
Pramod